Hey everybody, I hope you're doing good. Today's video was filmed a little bit ago, but we're gonna finish it off now and get it put out to you guys. The video had a little bit of issues with audio. It was right after I got my new microphone set up from Scott Balcom, and for some reason it didn't record any of the audio. And it just happened to be one of those projects I cannot go back and redo and do the voice and all that stuff at the same time. So we will be doing a little bit of voiceover today, probably a lot of voiceover. So what is this week's video about? It is about power generation up here at the homestead. Normally in the wintertime is when we have to run the generator the most. Obvious reasons. We don't have a whole lot of sunlight up here. As you can tell, it is gray over my shoulders. It is currently December 9th. And it is extremely warm for this time of year. We're sitting at 40 degrees right now and hardly any snow. So what's the deal with our power generation? Well, the little cabin had a generator building that's probably about 100 feet away, and it has a Yanmar diesel in it. The Yanmar still works. It has a few issues. I have to do a rebuild on it to get it back up and running. I love that Yanmar. It is extremely efficient. It burns probably about a half a pint an hour. So give you an idea how efficient it is. Our first winter here, we ran that generator every day for 3 to 6 hours a day, and we burned less than 100 gallons for the whole entire winter. That's a win for me. That's huge. Here at the new house, the wiring was not put in when we got here, so we had to put all this wiring in. Unfortunately, from the house to the generator building, it's probably about 200 feet. I was not going to attempt to bury wires all the way over there. So what I did is I put a wire through the wall going into where my inverter is. And then, coming out of that, we have a plug. This is a 30 amp plug. And then what we do is we take our generator and we set it on the porch here and plug this in and run it. Yes, I know, carbon monoxide too close to the house, Rob. The house is sealed enough where we don't have to worry about too much coming in from the outside. And we always make sure the exhaust is blowing out, and 9 times out of 10, we have no wind here, and it wouldn't be pushing it back in. And we do have carbon monoxide detectors in the house, right by the door, so it's not a worry. So we'd run it right there, and then at nighttime, we'd have to pull it in the dead of winter. Why? Because if you leave them outside, they build condensation up, and then they ice up on the inside, creating issues, and you run the risk of blowing them up. Last winter, we had our little Cummins, I think it's like 3,600 kilowatt, surged to 4,500 kilowatt. It was spewing oil out of the crankcase, as you see here. And a couple times, we bring the generator into the house at night, and then to do it all over the floor. So this year, I vowed to fix that. I did not want a generator sitting in a house when it's not running, or having to put it, there's a dog sniffing at the door. And I didn't want to have to deal with it outside the door. So what I did is over the summertime, I buried 80 feet of power cord, the proper gauge for what I'm doing, over here to the machine shop. Right there. It actually goes underneath the wall. It comes up right over here and inside. I have a junction box in there teed off to go to other places. And what I decided to do is install the Predator generator that we got this past spring in the machine shop. Sorry, you're not going to see too much in here because it is currently a mess. That's how we keep the warmth in here. Sorry. You already seen me hook up the Nordic oil drip stove. And this week, we're going to put the Predator 5000 generator in here, ease of maintenance, it'll stay warm, and it'll be able to power everything I need to power in this area, including the house. So, let's get on with the video. And again, I apologize for the audio being messed up, so you're going to hear me talking a lot. I'll try to keep it to a minimum, but I get bush syndrome this time of year. I'm a chatterbox. All right, let's get on with it. So to install this, I decided I'm going to cut a 4-inch hole through the wall. But first I had to cut through the plastic and insulation. Adam from Last Cut the Cord told me to use the hole saw in reverse and it would cut through the insulation and the plastic fairly easy. He was right, it really did. Now I purchased this kit for putting the exhaust out on Amazon, and I will drop a link on there for anybody that might have this type of generator that might be interested in doing this. It wasn't overly expensive and well worth the purchase price. Now you want to keep your exhaust pipe level or slightly sloped downwards so you don't get any condensation built up in there. Yes, that is an old style cookie tin, and no, it is not one of Sarah's sewing kit cookie tins. That is one that I had out in the shop. And I'm just using a stepper bit to put the hole in there, and then I'm going to go in afterwards with a pair of tin snips and widen the hole out to about the size of the exhaust pipe. I'm not going to have it loose in there. I want it to be kind of snug on the pipe so it holds it in one position. And I'm just double checking the size I need to make it. In this section I'm explaining to you how I'm going to put it in there and the way it's going to go. The hole that the exhaust is going to pass through on the tin is much smaller than the actual hole I put in the wall. You don't want the wood to get scorched, and that's what I'm explaining here. I just use drywall screws to hold it to the wall. It doesn't take much. It's not like it's having any pressure or force put on it. It's just there to guide the exhaust pipe and to keep it from touching the wood. Yes, I pulled out the insulation and I do put it back later on. I just needed to make sure I had a clean area to put the tin in, and then I refilled the insulation around the tin. Here I'm using my marker and my tape measure to find the center of the hole to mark it on the edge of the pie tin so I know where to approximately place it so I can keep it all centered. I get inspired to do it this way after watching our friends Mitchell's in Alaska work on their generators inside their shed. I talked to Tony and he explained to me what I needed to find. Thank you very much, Tony. I appreciate it. And guys, make sure you go check out Mitchell's in Alaska. They're a great channel. Alright, now it's time to pull apart the generator so we can connect the system on there. And it's actually pretty straightforward in how it connects. You'll see that here real quick. Pulling apart the generator wasn't that much of an issue. There's just a lot of screws and you've got to track them down and find each one, because some of them are kind of hidden. After you get the cover off, you have to remove the bracket that holds the spark arrestor in there. And that's what I'm doing right here. A couple of the bolts were pretty snug, but I did get them off. And now I'm pulling out that spark arrestor. I will make one to go on the outside. So this is the part that it bolts on. This is threaded and it has a flange that matches up to the flange on the engine, and there is a gasket that goes in between it to stop any gases from escaping. It is pretty straightforward on how it gets installed. You can't really mess this one up. The kit does come with everything you need to install it, including the Allen wrench. Now I'm taking my time tightening this down for a couple reasons. The main reason is I don't want to over tighten it and deform the gasket and cause a gas leak into the room. Need to keep that CO2 level down. Don't want to breathe that stuff in. After you get the first flange part on there, you have to thread on the coupler. Now the coupler is used to hold the flexible steel exhaust on there. And here you see me putting that on there. Just a test bit. I need to make sure everything's going to go back together on the generator as it's supposed to. With all the parts on there, I'm checking it to make sure it's all going to fit properly. So far it's looking like it will. Now I'm going to try to put the hose on with the clamp to make sure it all fits on there properly. Now the clamp holds it really snug on there and also creates a seal so you don't get any gas into the building again. And it does not fit. Time to do a little bit of surgery on this baby. And for that I'm going to use my oscillating saw. It went pretty quick. I love this little saw. I use it for a lot of different things around the property. It was a good purchase. And it fits. I just have to get it lined up and get it all bolted back together. It was a pretty fast procedure to get this thing installed, including the cutting of the back cover, the hole in the wall, and putting everything together. It did not take much time at all. I'd say tops 40 minutes. When putting the two side doors back on, it's pretty straightforward. Insert the tabs at the bottom, and then there's two twist screws at the top to line it all up. Lining everything up after I turned it around was pretty straightforward. The way I designed it to be, it would just slide right out and be at a slight downward angle for any condensation to drip out. No other support is needed for the exhaust. The cookie tin worked perfectly. This is the Predator 5000, the super quiet inverter. It is a dual fuel. We just use gas. We don't use propane on it because the propane is a lot more inefficient than the gas. This thing currently has probably about 450 hours, maybe 500 hours on it. We've been using it all summer, and we had to use it quite a bit this summer because of the clouds. Our solar system is going to be getting upgraded this year. So as you just saw in the video, I installed it. But to help protect us a little bit more, I added a piece of copper sheeting back there. It's not really copper, it's tin. And I added 2 of these 6-inch stovepipes back here to help deflect the heat back into the room. That wall was getting pretty dang hot, so I wanted to make sure that it was going to be okay. And so far, it's working great. The exhaust doesn't touch anything except for a little bit of the insulation, and that's not going to catch on fire just by touching the exhaust. It doesn't get that hot. So how does this work now? We do have carbon monoxide testers in this building, as well as one built into this unit. So we're going to start this up for a few minutes so you can see what it's like. 1 tap, it blinks. Tap 2.
And we're producing 190 volts. No amps. And I'm sorry, we have 544 hours on this generator. And I change the oil every 100 hours. So it's not that loud in here, so let's go outside and I'll show you where it exits outside the building.
So this is the southeast side of the building. A couple years ago, this housed the chicken run and a lot of junk stashed out here. So in Saturday night is the roofing material we pulled off this building to fix the roof. We laid the asphalt down on the ground and then started covering it with rocks. And this is Sarah's walkway to get out to the moose coffin in the wintertime.
And as you can see, there's the exhaust coming out of the side of the building. It is not loud, and it's probably about the max it's going to run on the sound. Not that hot. I try to keep it aimed down so I don't get condensation built up in there. The dogs come over here, run around, and bump into it. But that's it.
Now I'll be getting more into depth on our electrical system here in the next few months. I have plans for working on this one here in the main house. We will be adding batteries and a lot more solar panels in the spring. In this house, we use the EG4 LL series 24 volt 200 amp hour batteries. Currently we have 2, so we have 400 amp hours worth of battery. We want to get 2 more to bring us up to 800 amp hours. And at that point, we should be able to not have to worry about doing a whole lot during the wintertime, except for charging maybe twice a week, and it'll be a lot easier. Now the cabin, we have something coming here real soon for that, and hopefully you'll enjoy that video as well. That whole electrical system, meaning the inverters and the battery system, are going to get a full makeover, and you'll see that soon too. Anyways, I'm gonna get back inside, get you guys edited out, and get this uploaded. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.